In the late stages of pregnancy, my husband Christopher was driving me and his older sister back to our ancestral home for dinner when we were involved in a car accident. I was severely injured in the front passenger seat and went into labor immediately. Christopher. Call 911. I'm in labor. My panicked screams went unanswered. Looking up, I saw Christopher running away with Mirabelle Lee in his arms. Hearing the sound of amniotic fluid flowing down the seat, my heart sank. After 3 years of marriage, it was in this moment of life and death that I realized my husband deeply loved his late brother's wife. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital, and the baby had already passed away due to oxygen deprivation. Christopher stood by my hospital bed and explained, "Sky, don't be too sad. We'll have another child." I silently shook my head at him. "No, Christopher. Let's divorce." Christopher froze for a few seconds, his gaze growing colder toward me. He took an apple from the cabinet, sat down on the chair beside the hospital bed, and began peeling it while asking me, "Does this matter make you so angry? You even mentioned divorce." His tone was calm and flat, devoid of any emotion. I had lost our child. But in his words, it seemed like I had merely stumbled. So insignificant. "You know, I owe elder brother, character relationship, a lot. He entrusted his wife to me on his deathbed. And I cannot go back on my word. I was in a hurry and neglected you at the time. I apologize to you and promise it will never happen again." I looked at this man I had loved for 5 years. Yet I felt nothing but. I knew that a person's true nature is revealed in moments of crisis. Christopher instinctively abandoned me and chose to take Mirabelle Lee away, proving that she was more important to him than his wife or the child in my womb. The child had left this world because of this. And how could I possibly accept his explanation? All his explanations now felt hollow. As if this were just a trivial matter. The scene of Christopher leaving with her still played out in my mind. And my heart ached as if it had been pierced by something sharp. No need for promises. "Christopher." I suppressed the emotions surging within me and spoke softly. "I just want a divorce." I pulled my hand back, turned my head away, and tears began to fall uncontrollably. Christopher was about to say something else when he was interrupted by a nurse entering the room. "Who is the family member of Mirabelle Lee in room 2 next door? The patient is fine and can be discharged once she wakes up." "I am." He stepped forward, furrowing his brows, and asked, "Is she okay?" "She's fine. Just scared and fainted." Once the nurse turned and left, he exhaled in relief and remembered me. "Sky." Christopher stood by the bed, looking tired, and said, "I'll go check on my sister-in-law next door. Take her home, and come back soon to be with you." Despite my indifference, his gaze remained gentle, and he even reached out to tuck the blanket around me. "Sky, wait for me to come back. I'll be back soon." Hearing the sound of the door closing behind him, I closed my eyes and wiped the tears that had already cooled on my cheeks. The clock on the wall was almost at 7, but Christopher still hadn't returned. I weakly pulled back the blanket, and even turning over caused excruciating pain in my lower body. The nurse on round saw me gritting my teeth and trying to get out of bed, and hurried over. "You can't get out of bed by yourself. Where's your family member?" "I don't have any family." I smiled bitterly and went to the bathroom with the nurse's help. After struggling for a while, the bandage on my lower abdomen was soaked with blood. As the nurse helped me change the bandage and lie back in bed, I noticed Mirabelle Lee's latest post on her social media from half an hour ago. "I'm fine. But my brother insisted on cooking such a big meal for me to nourish my body. I even found it too much trouble to cook myself." Laughing and crying, the photo showed a table filled with delicious dishes, all of which were Mirabelle Lee's favorites. I recalled when we first got married. I had cooked spicy fish for the first time, and Christopher had unexpectedly scolded me. "My sister-in-law can't eat spicy food. Why did you make this?" We both love spicy food. But after getting married, we never ate Sichuan cuisine at home again because he was always catering to Mirabelle Lee's preferences. It turns out everything had a reason. True love can't be hidden. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by a large hand. A dull ache spreading through me. Scrolling down, I saw someone in the comments ask, Mirabelle's brother is back? She replied, no. It's Kit, Christopher's nickname, who made it. I just got out of the hospital. And he said he'd make something delicious to help me recover. Wow. Kit, Christopher's nickname, is so good to you. The overt display of affection felt like a knife piercing my heart without mercy. My breath caught in my throat. And I trembled as I called my lawyer. Please help me draft a divorce agreement. By 8 o'clock, Christopher finally rushed back. He was holding a thermos, with beads of sweat on his forehead. Did you wait long? There was traffic on the way. So I made some soup for you. Get up and have some. He kindly raised the head of the bed and handed me the thermos. It was the black chicken soup that Mirabelle Lee had just posted on her WeChat moments. My heart sank. And I felt nauseous. Throwing up uncontrollably on the side of the bed. Sky. What's wrong? Christopher hurried over and stroked my back. His concern genuine. Are you feeling unwell? Should I call a doctor? My vision blurred with tears. And I frowned in disgust. I don't want this soup. Take it away. He didn't ask why. Just went downstairs to pack some hot porridge and brought it back up. Let me feed you. Christopher took the spoon, blew on the porridge to cool it, and brought it to my lips. He had a pair of very affectionate eyes. And I had once been utterly captivated by them. But now, those same eyes still conveyed concern and warmth. Yet all I felt was nausea and revulsion. Are you pretending to care about me now? I met his gaze calmly. I want to divorce you. After we divorce, no matter who you love, it will have nothing to do with me. Christopher's expression froze. And a hint of panic flashed in his eyes. But he quickly suppressed it. Sky. What are you saying? You're my wife. It's only natural for me to worry about you. Besides, you're the only one in my heart. You can't joke about something like this. He came over to pull me. But I dodged him. Christopher's expression froze for a moment. But he still patiently tried to calm me down. I know. This time it was my fault. I hurt your feelings. But I promise. I'll never do it again. Okay? Seeing that I still didn't say anything, his expression also became difficult. Just as we were at an impasse, the door to the hospital room was pushed open. Sky. How are you feeling? I came to see you. Mirabelle Lee held several bags of fruit in her hands, her gaze shifting between me and Christopher. Her face filled with guilt. It's all my fault. The child in your womb. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. You and Kit, Christopher's nickname, mustn't fight over this. If you must blame someone, blame me. Her seemingly friendly words felt like they were being carved into my heart. Deep and heavy. Spurting out a trail of blood. Facing the woman dancing on my wound. A surge of anger rose in my chest. How is it your fault? Can you give me the child? Mirabelle Lee bit her lip. Her eyes quickly turning red. Sky. What do you want your sister-in-law to do? Should she kneel down and apologize to you? As she spoke, she was about to kneel down, but was stopped by Christopher. Ching Sky. He glared at me. I'm the one who made the mistake. What does your sister-in-law have to do with it? I've already apologized to you. What more do you want? Seeing him shield Mirabelle Lee behind him with a protective expression, my heart sank to the bottom. I sneered. I don't want anything. Isn't divorce enough? Christopher's expression froze on his face. And he was speechless for a moment. He offered to send Mirabelle Lee away. And William, father's name, and Eleanor, mother's name, also arrived at the hospital. The moment she saw me, Eleanor, mother's name, nearly burst into tears. Sky. Why do you look so terrible? How did you end up in a car accident? She sat by the hospital bed, directing William, father's name, to put down the items they had brought. I thought the hospital blankets wouldn't be as comfortable as the ones at home. So I brought them for you. There's also toiletries and other things. Is there anything else you need? Her gaze fell on my flat abdomen. And Eleanor, mother's name, trembled as she touched it. It's okay. Sky. You and Kit, Christopher's nickname, are still young. You'll have children someday. Eleanor, mother's name, and my mother had always been close. And she had never treated me poorly since marrying Christopher. Seeing the elderly woman's loving gaze, my heart softened. I sniffed back the tears welling up in my nose. Mom, I'm divorcing Kit, Christopher's nickname. I can't spend the rest of my life with a man who would abandon me. Besides, Kit, Christopher's nickname, has someone else in his heart. And I don't want to force him. What's going on? What do you mean abandon? William, father's name, and Eleanor, mother's name, were completely confused. Looking at each other in disbelief. Eleanor, mother's name, grabbed my hand urgently. Sky. What happened? Why suddenly want to divorce? The girl who had been silent all along suddenly sat up and answered for me in a calm voice. Auntie. Your son was in a car accident and didn't care about his wife who was about to give birth. He left her and went off with someone else. How can you expect her to continue living like this? The pain in my heart felt like a knife cutting through it, making me feel even more bitter. I couldn't breathe, and tears fell before I could speak. I'm not joking. I've thought this through. I want to divorce Christopher. This child. How could he do this? He's so foolish. How could he abandon his own wife and child? Eleanor, mother's name, stomped her foot in anger and turned to William, father's name, shouting. Call Christopher immediately and tell him to come back right away. Watching William, father's name, dial the phone. She turned back to comfort me. Sky. We'll teach Christopher a lesson. We promise he won't do this again. Think about the divorce. Do it for me. Okay? I gripped Eleanor's, mother's name, hand tightly, shaking my head in tears. Christopher is back at the hospital. Let's go find him. William, father, pulled Eleanor, mother, aside and comforted me. Sky. Don't worry. We'll handle this for you. After William, father, and Eleanor, mother, left, the lawyer brought over the divorce agreement. Thank you for coming all this way. When Christopher returned, he was shivering with cold. Sky. What were you talking about with your parents? If you have any grievances, take it out on me. Why are you slandering your older sister-in-law? He unleashed a barrage of accusations. His eyes cold and piercing. You and your parents talked too much. And now look at the mess you've made. Is this what you wanted? Christopher stood before me. His face darkened with anger. This wasn't our first argument, but it was the first time he had ever scolded me so angrily. My heart skipped a beat, and I looked up at him in disbelief. Something inside me felt completely empty, and the last remnants of affection vanished into thin air. I hadn't intended to expose the truth and wanted to preserve some dignity for both of us. Unfortunately, Christopher insisted on blaming everything on me. My nails dug deeply into my palms as I trembled with anger. Christopher, do you want me to say everything? I pulled up Mirabelle Lee's WeChat moments and shoved it in his face. You were stuck in traffic and didn't arrive until 8 o'clock. You were busy cooking for someone else. Weren't you? If she wasn't more important to you, why would you leave your wife, who just had a miscarriage, alone in the hospital for 3 hours? I couldn't even turn over without feeling pain from my incision. And there was no one by my side. I laughed coldly, but my chest rose and fell violently from the emotion. I scrolled down to the comments section. What does Mirabelle Lee mean by that? Is she trying to show off that you care more about her than me? Christopher didn't even glance at it, reaching out to knock my phone to the ground. My hand stung, the sharp sound signaling the onset of a storm. His gaze toward me was as cold as ice, devoid of any emotion. Ching Sky, do you really have to be so hostile toward your older sister-in-law? It's just a WeChat post. Do you really need to overanalyze it like this? When did you become so malicious and irrational? Me? Malicious? I curled my lips as if I'd heard a joke. Then what about her coming over to mock me about my car accident and my dead child? Is that malicious? Or disgusting? She knows full well the child died because you saved her first. What's she putting on for everyone to see? Compensation? A single, I'm sorry, from her would bring my child back. Enough. Ching Sky. Christopher interrupted me harshly, his brows furrowed with unyielding anger. Your sister-in-law came to visit you out of kindness. And you're accusing her of malicious intent. I've told you. If you want to blame anyone for the child's death, Blame me. Don't blame others. Seeing him so determined to defend Mirabelle Lee, my heart grew completely cold. But I calmed down. All right. I won't blame either of you. I turned away calmly and pulled out the divorce agreement I had signed from under the pillow. I only blame myself for choosing such a father for our child. I was blind in my judgment. There's nothing more to say. Let's divorce. Christopher stared at me intently. His teeth clenched. We've been together for so many years. Why can't you just let this go? Why are you using this one thing to reject me and even want to divorce me? Yes. The hospital room fell silent for a moment before Christopher's assistant rushed in. Mr. Christopher. The headquarters needs you to go to Riverside for a business trip to discuss a partnership. It's urgent. Now? He frowned and asked back. Yes. Christopher gave me a long, lingering look before opening the door. I need to go on this business trip first. We'll discuss the divorce when I return. While he was away, I checked out of the hospital on my own and booked a room at a nearby hotel. I've already contacted the company to resume my position and will soon be relocating to the distant town of Elmwood. Not only am I getting divorced, but I'm also leaving this place that has broken my heart forever. Tomorrow is the day my flight departs. And when I asked Christopher when the agreement would be signed, he only said he was still on a business trip. I can only entrust all divorce matters to my lawyer. I have no intention of changing my plans to leave because of him. At 3 in the morning, the bedside monitor suddenly sounded an alarm. I opened my phone and saw Christopher staggering into the nursery. I was stunned. He said he hadn't come back yet. Staring at the screen, I saw him humming a lullaby under the moonlight. His forehead pressed against the empty crib. It was the prenatal music I often listened to during my checkups. My eyes fixed on the screen. I felt a lump in my throat. What does Christopher mean by this? When the child was gone, he had brushed it off as something that would happen again, as if it were a trivial matter. Now he was acting as if he were heartbroken, which was laughable. Thinking of the child who had passed away, my heart ached unbearably. Just as I was about to close the screen, I saw Mirabelle Lee walk in. She was holding a bowl of hangover soup and standing at the door. Kit, Christopher's nickname. Why did you drink so much again today? Mom and Dad are already asleep. Drink the soup and go rest. Put it down. Christopher's voice was low, and he remained motionless in his crouched position. What's wrong with you lately? Mirabelle Lee set the bowl down, looking concerned. Did Sky have another tantrum with you? Should I go to the hospital tomorrow and try to talk to her? He took a deep breath and, as he turned around, accidentally knocked over the bowl of hangover soup. Most of the soup spilled onto Mirabelle Lee's wrist, instantly turning her delicate skin red. She yelped in pain. But Christopher stood there motionless. I raised my eyebrows in surprise. In the past, he would have immediately checked on Mirabelle Lee and stayed behind to clean up the mess. But now he did nothing, even seeming impatient. Christopher furrowed his brows, his voice tired. Big sister, don't worry about it. Go rest. I'm not just talking about the soup. You don't need to get involved in my business with Sky either. What do you mean? Mirabelle Lee looked up in shock. Do you think I'm the one who ruined your relationship with Sky? His face was tense, and the look in his eyes was no longer gentle. Big sister, the post you shared on social media after the car accident, and the things you said to Sky at the hospital, what's the difference between that and stabbing her in the heart? His voice was soft, but every word was clear. Mirabelle Lee's face paled, and she hurriedly defended herself. Kit, Christopher's nickname. How could you misunderstand me too? I really didn't mean it. You don't need to explain to me. I just hope you won't interfere in our affairs anymore. With that, he opened the door. You're not allowed to enter this nursery anymore either. I watched as Mirabelle Lee bit her lip and walked out tearfully. Just before stepping out of the room, she turned to look at Christopher. Kit, Christopher's nickname. Then why were you so kind to me before? The room fell into a deathly silence, and my heart trembled slightly. I was also curious to hear Christopher's response. Elder brother, character relationship, asked me to take care of you before he died. When he spoke again, his voice was hoarse. Is that really the only reason? Mirabelle Lee turned her head anxiously. Speaking without thinking. I know we went to the same high school. Do you like big sister? Christopher frowned and interrupted sharply. Don't overstep your bounds. I took care of you only because of elder brother, character relationship. That's all. She knew she had said something she shouldn't have and left quickly with a pale face. After Mirabelle Lee left, Christopher picked up the debris on the ground and closed the door again. He collapsed onto the floor, clenching his fists. I zoomed in on the screen and saw that it was a peace amulet. Christopher had been unwell for a while, so I climbed 999 steps to obtain this peace amulet for him. After giving it to him as a gift, I rarely saw him wearing it. I had assumed it was because he mostly wore suits, and it didn't go well with them. After the car accident, I realized it was probably because this amulet wasn't given to him by someone he loved. What does this mean now? Belated affection? I couldn't bear to watch this charade anymore. I turned off the surveillance camera and sent a message to the lawyer. Mr. Chen, have you delivered the divorce agreement yet? The response came quickly. I've already contacted Mr. Christopher. He wants to meet with you in person. We're still negotiating. And his stance is quite firm. At the same time, my phone vibrated. It was a message from Christopher. Sky, I'll come to the hospital tomorrow to talk with you. After 5 years together, you can't just end it like this. I didn't feel like responding, so I quickly replied, I'm not in Oakville, and went straight to sleep. The next morning, I saw that Christopher had sent me countless messages and made dozens of calls. Sky, where are you? I'm coming to find you. Sky, when did you leave? Why didn't you tell me? Sky, you can't do this to me. I want to see you. I didn't reply and went to work as usual. During my lunch break, the front desk downstairs suddenly called me. Sky, someone's looking for you downstairs. I went downstairs in confusion and saw Christopher. He stood tall and straight at the company entrance, still as handsome as ever, but his eyes betrayed a hint of fatigue. In the early winter weather of the north, he wore a woolen coat over his apricot-colored sweater. I recognized it as the one I had bought for him when we first got married. He had only worn it for one winter before putting it away. And when I asked him about it, he had only said he was afraid of ruining it. But the scarf Mirabelle Lee had knitted for our entire family. He had worn it winter after winter. I hadn't realized it before. But now I think it was because he liked Mirabelle Lee. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. But I paused for a moment before walking toward him. Why are you here? To be honest, I never expected Christopher to find his way to Elmwood. He hated any changes in his life and disliked unfamiliar places. Most importantly, he clearly didn't love me. If that was the case, why was he still clinging to me here? Sky, let's talk. Christopher reached out to grab my arm. But the moment his warm palm touched mine, I pulled away. A hint of surprise flashed across his eyes. And he looked hurt. He smiled bitterly. Do you hate me that much? Let's go to that coffee shop. I have half an hour left of my lunch break. I didn't answer. Just started walking ahead. 1 Americano and 1 latte with almond milk. Please. No. Just 2 Americanos. I gave Christopher a quick smile. People's tastes change. He paused for a moment, clenched his fist, then quickly let it go. Sky, I've thought it through. I've decided to tell you everything honestly. Yes, I did like your older sister. But that was just in high school. After she married elder brother, character relationship. I no longer had those feelings. Then I met you. We got married. And I truly wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. But during that car accident, I don't know why I instinctively chose to save her first. So even I thought that I still had feelings for her. His voice trembled slightly, and his eyes quickly turned red. But during the time you were away, I realized that the person in my heart is you. Whether I'm eating, sleeping, or even getting ready to go to work, your figure keeps appearing in my mind. I miss your embrace. I miss the way you look at me. And I hope you can be by my side at all times. At this point, he choked up. Sky, I promise you that I will keep my distance from my sister-in-law from now on. If you want, we can even move out and live separately. As long as you don't leave me. Okay? Looking into his eyes, I felt nothing in my heart. His seemingly sincere words of deep affection sounded hollow to me. But the care and concern you showed Mirabelle Lee after we got married were real. We've been together for 5 years. During that time, we were almost always together except when we were at work. It's only natural that you've gotten used to my presence. No. It's not just habit. Let me finish. I interrupted Christopher's urgent explanation and looked at him calmly. After spending so much time together, I don't doubt that you have feelings for me. After all, you've always been good to me. But that's precisely why I can't accept you after the car accident. The love I want is genuine, without any impurities. 2 people should only have each other in their hearts, deeply in love with one another. But it's clear that Mirabelle Lee still occupies a place in your heart. Under the glow of the lights, Christopher's eyes shimmered slightly. Those eyes were still so beautiful. But alas, I would never fall for them again. During the time we were in the hospital, things were really tough. We argued hysterically, and you couldn't understand my feelings at all. You even defended Mirabelle Lee repeatedly in front of me, which only strengthened my resolve to divorce you. Christopher. I gently placed my hand on my lower abdomen. This is where our unborn child was supposed to be. But you chose to abandon him. Even after he was gone. You tried to brush it off with just a few words. How am I supposed to accept that? During that time, every time I closed my eyes, I saw you leaving me behind. It felt like my heart was being torn apart. Sky. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. Christopher lowered his head, his shoulders trembling slightly. This was the first time he had ever shown such vulnerability. It's my fault. I let you down. But I promise you, it will never happen again. Please give me another chance. Okay? His Adam's apple bobbed, and a tear slid down the corner of his eye. Seeing my silence, his large hand covered the back of mine, still as warm as ever. Sky. I've thought long and hard about the issues you raised. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come after you. You know that. At the time, I just wanted you to be safe. We could always have another child. But I never imagined I would hurt you so much that you would want to leave me. I've thought it through during this time. I love you. Sky. I can't live without you. I'm sorry for what I did to you and our child. But you have to give me a chance to make it up to you. Don't abandon me like this. Christopher leaned forward, his eyes pleading. Please. Don't do this to me. The man who had always been so composed and self-controlled was now completely broken before me. But I felt no mercy. Christopher. Do you think I'm being cruel to you? He tried to calm himself with deep breaths. But tears kept streaming down his face. In his reddened eyes. I pulled my hand away and pierced his defenses with words as ruthlessly as he had once done to me. But when you abandoned me and scolded me every time Mirabelle Lee reprimanded me, I felt more pain than you do now. Even when I was in agony from the abortion surgery and couldn't move. You chose to prioritize taking care of Mirabelle Lee and even scolded me for being unreasonable. Did you ever consider my feelings? Christopher. This is the end. I won't give you another chance to hurt me. I thought that bringing up these things again would still tear me apart. But now I can say them almost calmly. With a slight pang of sadness. But no more pain. The wounds I once thought would never heal have finally scabbed over. I stood up. Lunch break is almost over. I'm leaving. Don't contact me again. If you truly still care about me, please sign the divorce agreement and let go. After saying that, I turned and walked away. I heard the sound of someone breaking down in tears behind me. But I didn't look back once. That night, I received a message from the lawyer. Ms. Cheng. Mr. Christopher has signed the documents. In addition to the property division you proposed, he has agreed to give you an additional property in Elmwood. All right. Thank you. Christopher acted quickly. Within a month, the property deed was in my hands. I glanced at it. It was the most prime property in the heart of Elmwood. Worth millions. This must have cost him most of his savings. When I came out of the Civil Affairs Bureau with the divorce certificate, Christopher called out to me from behind. "Sky, how have you been lately?" He followed me cautiously, his eyes filled with hope. Only then did I get a clear look at him. Christopher looked much thinner, with a tired expression on his face. "I'm fine." I smiled faintly and turned to leave. "Sky." I stopped in my tracks and heard him continue. "Dad and Mom really miss you. If you have time, come home to visit. Tell them I said hello. I'll visit them when I have time. But that's not my home anymore." After saying that, I got into the car and drove straight to the airport, flying back to Elmwood to continue working. During this time, I became familiar with the work processes at the head office, staying late every day to catch up with my colleagues. Fortunately, all my efforts paid off, and I was given the opportunity to work on an independent project. A year later, the project was successfully implemented, and the company organized a launch event. The hotel in the city center was filled with many well-known figures in the industry and numerous journalists. After the opening remarks, I was invited to speak on stage. Standing on stage, the spotlight was focused solely on me. Below, there were admiring glances and thunderous applause. I gripped the microphone tightly, my heart racing. When I first learned about Christopher's feelings, I went through several agonizing hours. During my days, details from our life together flashed through my mind like a slideshow. His special care for Mirabelle Lee, his tenderness toward her, and how he didn't hesitate to take her away in a moment of crisis. These scenes felt like knives stabbing me, leaving me bleeding and unable to breathe. Then came the memories of the beautiful times we had shared. He was gentle, considerate, and reliable. I once believed we would spend the rest of our lives together, that he was the only person I would ever love. That's why I'm so devastated and unable to accept it. After all, the love I imagined was too perfect. And I can't accept that it has such a crack. And this crack has caused me real pain. Even now, the unborn child occasionally comes to me in my dreams. When I wake up in the middle of the night, my face is always covered in tears. But at least I can still make the decision to leave. Even if it tears my heart apart, I know that if I don't choose to leave, that would be the greatest betrayal of myself. Fortunately, it's not too late. My journey through life can still be smooth and bright. Feeling a warmth in my eyes, I lift my face and smile brightly. Thank you all for recognizing me. Thank you for your support and help this year. I will always remember it and continue to work hard. As I was about to step down, I saw a familiar figure. Christopher was sitting in the corner of the venue, still wearing that worn wool coat. After the press conference, my assistant stopped me. "Sky, a gentleman just gave me this." He handed me a thick folder. I opened it and found it was filled with letters. In the early days of our relationship, Christopher loved to write love letters to me, a habit he had kept up for a long time. As I flipped through them, I found not only the older ones but also some he had written recently. The latest one contained just one sentence. "May the spring breeze be gentle on your path ahead. I hope you stay healthy and happy every year. Though we can no longer sail together, I still think of you often." I smiled and returned it to the assistant. "It's useless. Please throw it away for me." 2 years later, while on vacation after completing a major order, I unexpectedly received a text message from Mirabelle Lee. She said she had left the Christophers and apologized to me. She had been struggling to get by on her own, so she couldn't help but cling to Christopher's warmth. And in doing so, she had hurt me. "After you left, Kit, Christopher's nickname, was in a daze for a long time. I could tell he truly loved you." Mirabelle Lee said this. I simply replied, "Happy New Year." At the time, I was on vacation in New Zealand, staying at a farmhouse and reading a book. The past entanglements no longer concerned me. Now, I focused solely on myself. Looking out at the scenery, I felt nothing but peace and joy.